You already know it is your boy DJ Waffles on the check-in, and we're here for the Peace and Purpose conference today. And I'm sitting here with my special guest. I'm gonna start with my left to my right, and we're gonna start with Dwight Stone. Dwight, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, really quick?
I do a lot. I am the official praise break DJ for the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, for the Willie Moore Jr. Show. I am the executive producer of that show, along with the co-host, and I also host another show called The Praise Mixdown that airs on over 35 inspirational stations across the country. The Willie Moore Jr. Show airs on over 35 inspirational stations across the country as well, and I have a doctorate in Christian music development, so I take the whole inspirational genre very, very seriously. I'm also a father, a friend, a husband, and a King's kid. So that's it.
Let's give a round of applause for him.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to next, we got DJ J80.
What's happening, y'all? I go by the name of DJ Aetii. My mama calls me Giovanni Page. Y'all can call me Jay for short. I am the proud owner of a small business called One Night Entertainment, where we're a DJ and production company based here in Atlanta, actually right around the block from Morehouse. I stay in the SWATs, if you will. Yeah, man, I am an inspiring business mogul. Like, I really want to grow my company, grow the DJs that work for me. So a little bit about One Night. We have been around for about 6-7 years. We do all kinds of events, concerts, nightclubs, bars, you know, a lot of weddings, corporate events, things of the sort. And actually, I got invited here today by one of our very best DJs, DJ Waffles himself. So I'm excited to be here amongst some amazing gentlemen and getting to hear all about their accolades and having some great conversation today.
All right, so we're gonna move on to DJ Swamp Izzo. Can you tell the world a little bit about yourself, sir?
DJ Swamp Izzo, V103 all week long, mix show DJ. I handle the music side at Cash Money Records, and I also have a situation over there putting out music. I'm just grinding the streets, started from mixtapes from the bottom, trailer parks, backyard barbecues, and DJing my way up to being on the stage with these great guys.
All right, so we're gonna get this thing started. All you guys are brands right now. Tell me, how did you know that you were a brand to build behind? Because everybody can be like a player on a team. How did you know that you stand alone as a brand, like Dwight Stone, like One Night, like Swamp? Tell me like how you guys knew that one moment, I can stand on me.
I think when you separate yourself from the responsibility of what you're doing to the actual need of what you're doing, because a lot of times we just feel like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. I'm like, no. When I got to the point where I was like, oh no, I get to do it. And I'm excited about doing it. And when I realized that the soundtrack that I was providing, if I didn't provide it, it wasn't going to be provided that way. That's when I was like, oh no, this is like a real brand. This is a real serious thing. And you know, the fortunate thing was we have the opportunity, like I give away my mixes on the radio every day. And at first that felt weird because I was like, God, this is what I get paid to do. He was like, no, I want you to give it away. I'm showing you something. And when I started reading the emails and getting the feedback of what it means to people, that's when I was like, oh no, we got to do it. And that's how I believe that you know that you actually have something that is different when it touches people that way.
All right, Jay, what's your answer to that?
I love that. That's very inspirational in itself. I think for me, I knew One Night DJ Aetii was a brand, and it wasn't a decision I made. It was really like the people made it for me. When you're highly desired or favorable, it means you're up to something, right? And so for me, I just had to keep doing that something, you know, trying and finding my way. You know, don't fix it if it ain't broke type of mentality, and just keep at it. And then years later, here we are. You know what I mean? So I think for me, the answer to that question wasn't a choice that I made. It's a choice that the people made for me.
Okay. So what's your
That kind of answered the same. I love both of the answers. Same for me, I guess. Smaller, thinking of it, just being overseas in Afghanistan with Obama, just doing them morales over there, and just noticing the people who noticed me outside of the street element coming from the streets, DJing at Crucial or these little hole in the walls on Bankhead, just being overseas and people actually noticing the brand. I was like, oh yeah, we finally here.
Let me ask you this, Swamp. What made you want to be a DJ?
Wow. I didn't have the wicked jump shot.
I can respect that.
I couldn't break dance.
I got a wicked jump shot, and I still ain't. I
wanted to be good at something, and I grew up. I'm a little older, so I grew up watching Apollo. Okay. And everybody in my family, we sat around the TV and watched it, and everybody was excited with the people in the front. And I said, "Oh man, I can't do that. Right. I can't do that. What is the guy doing in the back?" Right. You can't see him. You just see his head just move. I was like, "Oh yeah, nobody's interested in him." And I honestly, that's what I wanted to be. I was like, something that I could hold for myself. Right. Nobody was interested in the guy in the back, in my family. So I was like, "Oh yeah, got y'all, finally." So I just pursued that.
Okay, so Aetii, we got you as the Kennesaw DJ from 2010 to 2013. Tell me, how did you get into that position, DJ?
So I think any career, any field, any talent, you got to dominate your city first. You gotta dominate your hood first. And I think for me, because I went to Kennesaw State, which like it ain't that cool. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty diverse, it's pretty rural, if you know what I'm saying? Like I remember when my family moved here from New York, and we had like a lot of our New York relatives come visit us, and technically I lived in Ackworth, but I don't even like saying that because it sounds like you about to get locked up, Cobb County. So I had to like run my town, you know what I'm saying? And there wasn't that many bars, but I was in them, you know what I mean? And then from there, Buckhead was the next closest thing to partying in Atlanta. Midtown, I might be showing my age, like Opera, like Velvet Room, places like that were, you know what I'm saying? So like for me, it was like I had to get to those spots. And it's funny how perspective changes when you get older. To me, like DJing in Midtown was like, that's like winning an NBA chip. Like that's all I could see, at that age. But now, I would argue like DJing at the hottest club, it doesn't even remotely scratch the itch and satisfy me anymore. Seeing my team thrive and my DJs make it, is everything. Seeing my family grow and blossom. So it's funny how perspective changes, but like when I was at Kennesaw State, because that's all I had just had to make sure I ran it up. DJ'd all the frat sorority parties. We had like fashion shows there for homecoming. I got to open up for Future, Juicy J, and meet those guys at that time. And to me, that was the hottest-ish ever. And I had to be in front of it.
Nice. What about you, D?
It's a long story, but we're here now, so let's go. So I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. Yes. You know what I mean? 6. So shout outs to Drake. You could use the shout out. So what? I'm just showing him love. I'm just messing with you, Drake. It's all good. But no, so yeah, coming from Toronto, we didn't have any urban radio stations up there at the time. Now we do, but we only have like one in the entire country. So I actually had to take, my talents to the United States. And then once I got here, I realized that there were just certain things that they didn't have at the college that I was going to. And then it just so happens that the college I was going to was less than a mile away from the local radio station, which I ended up hanging out every day. And then, they were like, "Oh, well, what do you do?" I was like, "I can do this." And then time went on, and then I moved to Birmingham, and then I moved to St. Louis, and then, but the goal was always Atlanta. So then when I finally got here, it was like, oh man, this all makes sense. But yeah, DJing has always just been in my blood. And I was hanging out with a bunch of reggae DJs that kind of taught me how to do it. And that's where that whole West Indian influence kind of comes from. And you can hear it.
Okay, so I really want the world to know, how did you get into praise and worship as a DJ when you started out from a secular world?
That's a funny story too. So the interesting thing was, at the time when I gave my life to Christ, I was still deep off in the club. And I remember the radio station at the time told me, hey, we just want the guy we hired. Because when they hired me, I was cussing and standing on tables. And you know, I remember they asked me, they were like, why should we give you the job? Because I was like, because I'm going to beep, 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 beep. And they were like, he's hired. We love him. You know what I mean? And then like God started doing the work on me. And I remember Willie called me and he was like, are you okay? Because I was like, yo, the drink specials are this tonight, but please drink responsibly, please. And this was like on a live broadcast. They were like, yo, this guy is struggling right now. Because I could see everything. And that was just one of the gifts. It kind of felt like a curse at the time where God was like, I'm going to let you see what's going on with everybody in here. So I would go to the club and I would be like, oh, I see what's on him. I see what's on her. And it was just like really, really weird. So I was like, okay, I'm going to fuse the two. So I would start taking hip hop beats and I would mix them with, you know, gospel tracks. And then
So you was just breaking all the rules at this point still.
I was breaking all the rules of the game, but I had to make it feel comfortable for me. And then I found out that there was a niche of people that really enjoyed hearing the music that way. And that's why up till this day, you can hear it. And, it's afforded me great opportunities. I recently opened for Maverick City. I have an event with Jonathan McReynolds coming up before the end of this year. So people have bought in, but I think it's more of, and I want to say this for the DJs, they have to buy into who you are before they buy into what you do.
I agree.
So it wasn't just the fact that I was doing it, it was the fact that, I see that this is the only way it can make sense to you. So we accept it because we understand that this is your love language.
Definitely. So I know everybody sees us on Instagram and we kind of look like Instagram models, if you have.
Speak for yourself.
That's what we all look like. This guy gets dressed in like every picture. I was like, bro, you're just getting dressed in like every shot. Dwight, you're on Twitch, you're going crazy. Jay, you're just like a loving family, but you got the business page going crazy. But this is the thing. People really never get to see our lives outside of being a DJ because they only see what we post on social media apps. Which raises my next question. What's the biggest fail that you had as a DJ and how did you recover? Starting with you, Jay.
Oh, biggest fail. Bro, I got too many stories. Anytime you've been doing something long enough, you're going to have lots of failures. But I think waking up and recognizing the failures and figuring out what you can do better and change is kind of in the beauty and the strength of a growing business person. I think for me, the biggest failure was trying to figure out how to duplicate myself in the beginning. And that's a failure in itself because there is only one you. And I think you need to recognize the strengths and weaknesses in other people, embrace them, and not turn other people into you. And I think for the longest time with my business, like, to give y'all some context, I have a DJ company with multiple DJs. And so, we book multiple events in a night and I basically have to send DJs out. But when I send them out, I'm not at that event, right? I'm totally hands off. So I just let go, let God, if you will, right? And so when things don't work out exactly how I would like them to, then I found a problem with it, even when there wasn't a problem there, right? So I think for me, the biggest issue I had, and sometimes I still struggle with it, is just appreciating people for the talents they have and embracing them and learning that their strengths are their strengths, their weaknesses are their weaknesses, and your job as a business owner is to know that and deal with it accordingly.
Nice. How about you, Swamp? I think you can say what we was talking about before. Like
my biggest fail, when he was talking, I was just thinking, like, I think my biggest fail was not understanding the business and creating so much, like, from just Young Scooter to the Future to Young Thug. Not even having the business sense to, they would have signed to me any day. Right. And I just kept it a friendship. and watch my friends become the biggest in the world to this day. And I think that the hardest part is like we still friends. And I still get to be on stage with them. I'll be on stage with them Sunday at Rolling Loud. But as I think back, I was like, my biggest mistake was I should have just had somebody at my corner like you. Like,
That'd have been me, for sure.
Like,
Because I'm about that bread.
Yo, bro, that's future,
look at
bro.
God.
That's your, he will sign this piece of paper with no second guess. So I wish I would have been more business minded, but I was having so much fun. And I still didn't know they were who they were going to be.
For sure. And I would say for me, it's funny you mentioned that. I wish I had more you in me, right? When I was DJing in the beginning, I think because my mind is naturally business savvy, I kind of stopped worrying about the talent, the beat creation, and kind of like the artistry side of it. And I became more of a businessman. So part of me at night is like, damn, I wish I was on tour. Everybody knew my name and like how everybody knows Swamp Izzo. But I'm still grateful for what I have and my business and my friends and my DJ.
I wish I would have met you. I wish I would have met you a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. What's your answer to that?
Just being around more takers than givers. You know, the amazing thing, like, you know, when you live a God-centered life, you always want to give. You know what I mean? But after a while, you really have to get to a point where you start appraising who you're giving to, and just really just start asking yourself, like, are these people, like, they're just taking right now, and you really need to, come on, Bird.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's spirit-led. But no, I just think that we have to make sure as DJs that, you know, find an older version of yourself, you know what I mean? And allow that person to mentor you, because I think what I did was I just wanted to see so many people win. I co-signed for people that I shouldn't have co-signed for. And you know, in this DJ business, if they can't get you and you say, all right, well, I'm gonna suggest this person, and then that person doesn't even show up, that's a fail. Even though it's not your fail, it's a fail because your brand co-signed for a person that didn't represent you properly at all. So, you know, I feel like that was one of the things that I was like, okay, you know what? Moving forward, we're definitely going to do that. And that's why I'm always excited to, you know, me and you kicked off like really, really quick or in the beginning, but now, you know, I get to meet the people that you're cool with, and I'm like, yeah, it's the same spirit, you know? So I'm excited about that, but no, I'm not doing what I did in the past, which was just like, I love everybody. I love everybody. And then I'm like, I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it. So you got to just be very, very careful. I'm not saying that you don't love people, but make sure that you profile them properly, because if you don't, it could cost you in the end. And that conversation was weird because I had to talk to the client, and he was like, yeah, you know that girl that you suggested? Yeah, she never showed up. I was like, you're kidding me. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you guys this. How do you guys aim to impact the culture as being DJs?
Swamp, I think you should take that.
Yeah, start with you.
Oh, my God.
Mr. Late Night.
Oh, man. Impact the culture. Well, I'm working with this new, well, not a new guy, but a younger spirit, Playboy Cardi. We got a project coming out. We're going to release some songs this Sunday. He has a massive, massive following. So each show we do is the minimum 30,000 kids. Crazy you say your story. My whole thing is I call myself God DJ because I bless so many artists. So I just want to bring that spirit, sort of, your spirit into the music, because they feel like it's sort of demonic, or the kids are saying so much. And being from the streets, we have to tell what we know. So it comes off as demonic, but it's really the real life when they put the mic down. So I try to always, if you listen to my mixtapes, if you ever listen to my mixtapes, at the end I always do a prayer or a quote from the Bible.
So let me ask you this.
I always did.
So let me ask you this. How do you pick artists to work with? Like, you work with Future, you work with these guys that's now coming up.
God,
how do you choose?
I moved to Atlanta, low income area, and couldn't find a place. Everybody was just taking application fees. And this one lady let me move into her home, and it's up the street from Shorty Low. Wow. So I always pray, because I said, this is all not being spiritual, far from that. I always say it's God's gift, because I don't even know how I ended up in Afghanistan. I don't know. I couldn't tell you a step that I took. All I know is I got a phone call from a phone call, and Khaled didn't want to fly. And I was like, I'm not in line after Khaled. It was like, yes, you are. 22 hours later, I was in Kuwait, and the story starts.
All right, so let me ask you.
I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy.
I never knew you to get so deep like that.
Thank you, Lord.
Deep on me just now.
Thank you, Lord.
We turned the corner for a second. I was like, wait a minute, Swamp that I know. Okay, I got you. All right, so let me ask you guys this: if there was one record that you guys can pick to start off the soundtrack of your life, what would that song be?
DMX Slippin'.
Okay,
My favorite song ever.
Bro, I'm so open format. So many songs came to my mind. My favorite artist is Jay-Z. I think a particular version of Ain't No Love in the City, the one from the MTV Unplugged. That song just hits me. And I don't even know if it speaks to my life. It more so speaks to my mindset and just like gets me motivated to get up here and grind and get after it every day.
This one's different. I would probably say Jill Scott Blessed. You know what I mean? Because I really don't feel that, even being on stage with you guys today, like when I look back, I'm like, how did I get here? You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you have no explanation of how you went from chapter 1 to chapter 5, but it just keeps on going, it's like you know that you're blessed. And the reason why I say that is because we all have that favorite television series, but when it's over, we're like, I like that show. You know what I mean? Like, why y'all canceling this? It's like, nah, man, this is like the people just are not feeling it anymore, or whatever the case may be, or they ran out of a story. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just think about the fact that everybody on this stage is like, do you understand that at no point God said, nah, his story's over? You know what I mean? It's still going. So the fact that we still get to have, the longest running TV series somewhere in the universe, somebody's watching the Dwight Stone show, or the the Waffles show. Yeah, have you seen DJ Waffles? Yeah, I'm on season 13, man. It's amazing. Like somebody is watching our life somewhere and they're not tired of it. So I just think when I think about it from that perspective, I'm like, man, we are so blessed because it could be over. And when I mean over, I don't mean death. I mean, it could just be you are no longer in demand.
I can see that. So with you guys being proud dads, would you guys encourage your kids to take the same road that you guys took as well?
No.
Because this is being a DJ is like
absolutely not
crazy.
DJing is like the same thing as you would look at a janitor. The guy you would step over so much but ends up owning a company or something. That's the DJ. Like he puts it so far into it, he actually becomes something. I've seen all DJs who even never tried to DJ become something. If they just stay at it and stay consistent and know what they're doing and take pride into what they're doing, they can be something.
Okay. What about you, Jay?
I'm raising an NBA player, putting it into words.
Come on.
Y'all can do 401k
I respect
plans.
it. I respect it.
Y'all can do 401k plans if you want. That is my 401k plan right there. For sure. Now
they're watching this. Watching this right now.
He's not playing football though. That's all I know. Wifey asks me that all the time. We got like DJ toys at the crib, and little man loves it. He loves music. But that's because we're a music household in general. Like we wake up, music's on and everything like that. So it's cute to see him DJ, but you know, as much as I love my career and path, like I would only want that for him if he wants it for him. There's so many different ways of DJing. And I think back to my point earlier, when in the beginning of my career, it was just clubs. The other day, you know, and having a team of DJs, I sent everyone in our group chat the DJ from the Democratic convention thing. Do y'all remember that guy? Shiny suit, like kind of looks like a clown, if you will. But when I was watching him work, I was like, how much of that is actual DJing? Like how much of it is mixing? How much of it is just where he got himself with the connections, the conversations, the relationships? And really throughout that whole thing, he got, you know, open up for Kamala, Beyonce comes on stage, all that. He's really just like emceeing and playing tracks, you know? I think about the other DJ that was really popular during COVID. Someone remind me his name. Always got the hat. D-Nice, right? D-Nice was like a producer and a rapper and then became a DJ. So I think when you ask someone if they want to be a DJ, it's just asking, do you like music? Because there's so many different ways to go about it, right? You got radio, you got nightlife, you got going on tour, you got me, like I did all that club stuff in my younger age. Now I'm doing weddings and corporate events and my clients love me, but I don't know if anyone across the world is checking for me, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm grateful for that. So I think within the lane of DJing, there's so many different avenues. For my child, just whatever makes him happy, if that's the route he chooses.
Gotcha. What about you, D?
Well, fortunately, I already know that my daughter's not interested in what her dad does. But I also did a very, very good job of protecting her from who I was becoming. So, you know, even when in the early stages, I didn't post her on social media. You know, some people don't even know I have a daughter. You know what I mean? Because I felt like, hey, this is sometimes unwanted attention. And I feel like if you don't protect your family from that, you know, they could get criticism they don't even deserve. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would suggest to any DJ, like, hey, if you create a huge social media following, like, let your family decide whether they want to be a part of your life. But if they don't want to, that's fine too. Because, you know, it's your spotlight. But just make sure that that's what they're interested in doing. Because when I tell you those people in the comments are savage, they can be. I love them, but they can be really, really, you know, tough on people. And just, you know, that wasn't a perfect, we know it wasn't perfect. But, you know, if that's not what you want to do, I would definitely say protect them from that. But if they are interested, I mean, you're the best person to teach them because they can learn from all of your mistakes. And if they just, you know, come in and take a knee and learn from all the things that you did wrong, I think that they're going to be incredible. It's almost like the second generation wrestler. They're you know, it's always like, oh man, Cody Rhodes is great. Well, did you see his dad? You know what I mean? Like who? Dusty?
Right.
Dusty. Yeah, Dusty was amazing. You know what I'm saying? We thought he was black until, you know, yeah. He is black. He honorary black.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So speaking about the people in the comments, right? How do you guys create self-care for yourself outside of DJing? Because we're like super busy, bro. I think about music 90% of the week. So how do you guys practice self-care that takes away the music element?
I add it to my day. I have to, I try to meditate at least 15, 20 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. I have to just, before I walk into the next building, because I'm doing radio from 6 to 10, then I'll leave there and go 20-minute drive. Then I get to another club till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So when I'm sitting in the parking lot, I at least just close my eyes, cut the music off, and just sit there and just go home for a second in my mind, and then go into the club. You have to reboot every day. You have to just stop completely.
I think it's hard for me to do that because I just want to be good at everything. I know that I'm not going to be great, but I have to be good at the shit that I'm doing. Excuse my language. But that's just my thought process on it. I'm doing so many different things. Shout out to the bird that just pulling up. All right, because I'm like, say for instance, I'll DJ like STK on the weekends, and I'm prioritizing music for that. And then Jay might be like, you got a wedding this weekend. So I know that I have to think about music for this day. I have to think about music for that day. I have to get prepared. So music is always in my head. It's so hard to a point where now I'm waking up with Kendrick Lamar songs in my head. No lie. Like I'm going to brush my teeth and I'm hearing the songs. I'm like, you tripping. But that's because I want to be good at what I'm doing. I want to be ahead of the curve. So once it drops, I'm ready to go. It came out, I know it. I can play it. And that's just me on my thought process. What about you, self-care?
Man, you go. I'll go last.
Let's go, Jay.
That's hard for me and something I struggle with every day. So for some context, we have a 1.5-year-old at home. We are expecting baby girl first week of April. So I'm young in my manhood, if you will. Only got married like 2 years ago, bought a house 3 years ago. So it's all adulting is happening for me in full effect.
Adulting.
So managing a business, managing a family, and then having a wife that her love language is the one thing I don't have enough of, quality time. Bro. So for me, I made my downtime my family time. As much as I would love to just be at the gym and just kick it with the fellas, or just goof off and do whatever I want to do for me, there's not enough hours in the day for me to be selfish right now. So once I realized that, my downtime has became my sacred family time, giving my little man the attention he deserves, and then, giving wifey some TLC.
For me, I think it's actually something I discovered recently because of course, I do the show with Willie Moore Jr., and I told him, I said, you know what you really need to do? He was like, what? I said, study a juggler. And he was like, why? I said, do you notice that while they're entertaining the crowd, they don't take their eye off of what they're juggling? And he was like, yeah. I said, exactly. So they're entertaining the crowd. They're like, so I said to the guy, and they're still juggling what they're juggling. And I'm like, we have to do that as human beings. It's like, we got to figure out how to talk to people, let them know, hey, listen, I still don't have permission to drop what I'm juggling, because a lot of times the blessing is the new responsibility. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, God, well, I'm believing you for this. He said, I'm about to give it to you. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to put this down. He said, you can't put that down because nobody's going to do it like you do it. So you got to figure out how to juggle that thing along with the new thing that you've been asking me for. And I know you can do it, but it's going to take extreme focus. So what I do in my downtown now is, and I just started doing it this week, I would suggest anybody watching this to start a gratitude journal. Because what that does is you can't be grateful for something without reflecting on something that's already happened. So when you reflect on things that have already happened, you're like, actually, I have a lot of things to be grateful for. And then you just start writing it down. And as you start writing down your gratitude journal, leave it open for what God is getting ready to do today. And then now you're just fueled off of gratitude. So when you asked me to do this, I was like, I can do it. Why? Because I need to journal it. You know what I mean? I was like, I have to journal it. So now I have something else to write in my gratitude journal. I was able to speak to this amount of people, you know what I mean, on a Friday. Didn't see it coming, but I'm grateful that I have something, and I've been doing this long enough that I can share wisdom, and it comes from a genuine place, because I've been married 19 years, 20 next year, and that's the only job I haven't been fired from, so take the advice. Come on.
All right. So this is close to my last question. Where do you guys see your businesses for 2025? Like what you guys got ready for 2025 that you feel like you're going to hit the mark? Start with you, Swamp.
I just want to stay idle, maintain. I don't really have a goal to, I just want to keep working. I'm on radio 6 days a week, I'm in the club 6 nights. Well, 7. I DJ 7 nights a week, but I'm on radio 6 nights a week. So I just want to just maintain that. I'm not even trying to go even higher. I just want to just maintain that.
You ready to
Everything
coast?
else is
You
just
ready to
overload.
coast?
Everything else is overload. I just want to just maintain working.
You're just ready to coast at this point.
Yeah, just ready. Just stay idle.
What about you, Jay? What you got going for one night and your brand as for the next year?
My goal has always been every year, and I've fallen short of it in 6 years of doing business, but it's to get all of my DJs to 100K a year in sales.
Where do I sign up?
So when I started my business, my whole goal, again, perspective, it's funny when you start, like, you know, $100,000 seemed like, I'd be cooking. Now I'm like, it's not really, you know, but I think for DJs being a part of a team, being part of a brand, if I can get them to 100K in sales a year, then I've done my job as a business owner, as a mentor, because I want these guys to be able to feed their families and live out their dreams and all that stuff. So like that has been the mile marker for me, is just getting my people to that point. And I think we put some things in place for the 2025 year that is going to allow my DJs to get there. So I just got to keep my foot on the gas.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do work for him, so pray for me.
Yep.
All right, D, what you got for me?
So my answer is a little bit different. I want to take more risks in 2025. I was talking to somebody from that, you know, younger generation, and I don't know if he knew he was going to offend us when he said this, but he was just like, your generation doesn't take enough risks. And I'm like, because we took them already for you. You know what I mean? But he was just really, you know, I think he's 21 now, but he was just like, you guys need to take more risks. So I think that just means that we just need to get outside of our comfort zone. You know what I mean? A lot of us, I was listening to you all night. I'm like, hey, with the amount of relationships that you have, there's no reason that you don't have your music out. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that you haven't done music, but you have the relationships to get on the phone and say, hey, I have a track. And now you put out that track and you can feature the people that you've been taking care of, you know, for years. Because I think the logical maturation of a DJ is, you know, to become that artist, the Calvin Harrises of the world and the David Guettas of the world. You know what I mean? They are doing arenas and all this other kind of stuff because they have music. And shout outs going out to DJ Khaled. So I think, you know, the natural next step for us is to get in that arena and start doing that, and not just play the music, but make the music. And then now you can DJ and be like, yeah, I'm going to play my song. Yeah, I'm going to play another one of my songs. How about I just play, you know, my stuff?
All my songs.
Yeah, I'm just going to play my songs. And I'm excited about the opportunity for us to do that as DJs, because I just think it's the next step.
For the people out there that's watching us right now, if there's one thing that you can tell somebody that's aspiring to be like one of you guys up here, what would you tell them?
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Start from the dream. Start from the enter, and then, you know what I mean, find your way out. Start from the dream.
Amen to that. I love Kobe Bryant and the way he thinks and communicates. And I think if you can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Meticulous about your art form, you'll get somewhere. And by that, I mean, like, rethink everything, right? Don't take anything for granted. Everything from customer service to mixes to just the way you move, like, reflect on how you do what you do, and be meticulous about that decision and how you move, and then you'll find your own way. You mentioned earlier having your own niche. I think that's how you create your niche. You think about the way you do what you do and just be intentional about it. So key word is intentionality.
I'm going to say evaluate your circle every day. And be okay with changing the labels on things. I always tell people, like, Adam had one job, you know, name the animals. I think he was late getting to the snake. But the point is that if you don't label something, like, you know, unlabeled relationships will cost you. So, you know what I mean? It's like, don't have no undefined relationships in your life. Label everything. Stay around excited people, and you'll stay excited. But if you stay around people that are not excited about their life, you being excited about yours, they're gonna eventually, you're either gonna convince them or they're gonna convince you, and you're not gonna be as great as you could be.
Definitely. So that was our last question. So starting with Swamp, over to D Stone. Let everybody know how they can follow y'all on social media.
Easy. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Everything's just Swamp Izzo, at Swamp Izzo. SWAMPIZZO, Swamp Izzo.
Bye. DJ Aetii, company is One Night ATL, ONENIGHT ATL. DJ Aetii is DJAETII. That's everything. Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
At Dwight Stone on Instagram, at DJ Dwight Stone on Facebook, and you can also visit my website, djdwightstone.com or pmdradio.com.
Y'all can follow me on Instagram at DJ_Waffles. If you want to find out more about me, you could go to www.imdjwaffles.com. We appreciate Rolling Out for having us. And the boss man is just walking in on the live. How are you?
Peace and purpose to everybody. These are all my DJ CEOs who are truly part of our streaming. We're a Black-owned streaming channel now, Rolling Out Live. These guys are spiritual, beautiful brothers that were able to come together and really support and Rolling Out. If Atlanta is nothing else, and I want us never to lose the spirit to support each other. Like, if you're not supporting somebody, don't bring that Hollywood to Atlanta. We're going to call it out. I don't care if you went to Kennesaw State. If you're here and you landed in Maynard Jackson Airport, you deserve a piece of the pie, whatever is going in here, and you deserve to also help somebody else get a piece of this pie. We got to be a community that loves each other. So thank you, Waffles, for putting this dynamic CEO panel. Thanks to AT&T, the American Cancer Society, for sponsoring Peace and Purpose. We hope that lives are changed. We hope that there's a relevance to everything that you said. You heard brothers talk about families, baby girls. So take this, share this, and know that we all love you for being a part of Peace and Purpose. So take this atonement moment, this day, this time, to think about everything that they said. He said, somebody thought about me. He said, I didn't put my baby girl on social for a minute. All these things being said are just tips. And then he said, put a label and boundaries on everybody. This is that moment. Now, whether you put a label, at least say, do they add or should I subtract? Delete a few people from your phone. If you ain't called them in a while, get some peace in your phone. Do not let your device and people take up space in your life. It's a moment to delete. That ain't canceling nobody, but they're not adding value. You want to add value at this moment in your life. So thank you, brothers, for being a part of Peace and Purpose. We'll be back with more. Got a sound bath coming your way here on Peace and Purpose on Rolling Out Live. Thank you.